That is iOS 10. All of you developers can get the developer preview today. And again, we're doing a public beta this July. Sign up now at beta.apple.com and we'll let you know when you can download it. And iOS 10 will be available to all of our users this fall as a free upgrade across all of these devices. That is iOS. Now I'd like to hand it back to Tim. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Craig. iOS 10 is fantastic, and it's an enormous release. I couldn't be more proud and more excited about the incredible advancements across all of our platforms. Now, as we said earlier, an important part of making these platforms so capable is our developers. We believe it's crucial that we provide the best tools so you can create the best apps. That's why we created Swift. Swift is a powerful and intuitive programming language for iOS, macOS, watchOS, and tvOS. And writing Swift code is fun and interactive, and apps written in it are lightning fast. Since we released Swift less than 2 years ago, we've seen an amazing response from the developer community. There's already more than 100,000 apps that have adopted the use of Swift code, including great apps like Twitter and Strava and Lyft. Now, we wanted everyone to use Swift, so we released it as open source in December, and since then the adoption has been amazing. It's already the #1 language project on GitHub. Swift is powerful, but it's also simple and it's approachable, so it can be your very first programming language. This is a very important point for us. Because Swift is so easy to learn, it has the potential to bring many more people into coding. And this is an idea we would like to take even further. So today, we're introducing a new app for iPad. We call it Swift Playgrounds. Thank you. Swift Playgrounds will revolutionize the way people learn to code. And they'll be able to do it right on their iPad, which instantly makes it accessible for hundreds of millions of people around the world. There's never been anything like this. We believe it's the absolute best way to teach everyone to code, combining the powerful Swift programming language and the powerful capabilities of iPad. To show it to you, I'd like to invite Cheryl Thomas up. Cheryl?
Thank you, Tim. I am thrilled to show you Swift Playgrounds, an incredible new app that transforms how kids learn to code. I'll launch it right now. We land on this gorgeous screen full of custom content from Apple. Up at the top are lessons, and down below we have challenges. I'm going to start with the very first lesson in the fundamentals of Swift. We see a preview of the content with graphics and a description, and I'll open it. It starts with an introduction to the coding concept I'll be learning, and when I'm good and ready, I can just tap in the lower corner to start coding. Over on the right, you can see we have an interactive world that I can explore using touch. I'll swipe it, looks good, and pinch to zoom. This is Byte. He's my character. I think he's irresistible, and I'll be controlling him with code. Over on the left are instructions that explain and help guide me through the problem I'll be solving. And down below is where I enter my code. Byte's been waiting patiently, so I'll tap to enter Swift code. You can see commands have appeared at the bottom. These are just like QuickType suggestions, but for code. My objective in this lesson is to get him to the end of that path and collect the gem. So I'll tap move forward 3 times, and then collect gem. Watch the world on the right as I run my code. Byte moves forward, he follows the commands in the exact order I've entered, gets the gem, and I've completed my very first lesson. Kids are gonna love them. Now, I can continue to the next lesson in the series, or I can jump around to wherever I'd like. To do that, I tap in the top left to open the table of contents. And you can see we include a ton of great content here to engage and motivate learners. This one on loops, looping all the sides, looks a little interesting. I'm gonna check it out. Now, we have a few lines of code already filled in. I'll go ahead and run it and see what happens. Byte moves forward, he gets the gem, but then he just stops. Aw, poor little guy. He's gonna need some help. The solution here, and I know you've all got this, is that I need to repeat that block of code 4 times to get byte around all 4 sides of the world. To do that, I'm gonna need a for loop. I'll tap the plus up top to open my code library, and all I have to do is just drag a for loop right into my code. Now, watch this. I can tap that loop, grab the end of it, and just drag it all around my code. All right, I'll tap the number placeholder, set this loop to repeat 4 times, looks good. Okay, keep your eyes on byte as I run my code. He moves forward, gets the gem, makes a turn, and this time with the added for loop, he just keeps on going. I've finished another lesson, and I'm well on my way to mastering loops. Wouldn't this have been cool when we were all learning to code? I mean, come on, you students, let me hear it. Come on. Swift Playgrounds is a fantastic app to master the basics, but it doesn't stop there. Let me show you. I'll tap in the top left corner to go to my library of playgrounds. I can also explore advanced coding and use the power of the iOS SDK to do almost anything I'd like. I happen to have something I've been working on. It combines my 2 favorite things, physics and emoji, interestingly. Okay, you can see that this is a lot more sophisticated than what we've been doing. I have some emoji on the right, thank goodness. I can tap to add more. That's a big B, okay. Now, I can also fling them around, and because this is physics emoji, they create a nice little reaction. But you also notice they're all just falling down to the bottom, and that's because right now gravity is fixed. So I'm gonna go ahead and play around with gravity a little bit, because who doesn't like to do that? I'm gonna double tap to bring up the keyboard. We've built a completely new coding keyboard, and it is awesome. The keyboard has the numbers and symbols we use in Swift programming, and they're right at my fingertips. I'm going to quickly set the world's angle, world.angle, equal to the gyroscope's angle. It looks good. Okay, now look at the bottom of the keyboard. There's a V key. It also has an asterisk on it. Watch what happens when I press and drag down. I get an asterisk for multiplication. You're going to get to see that again. I bet you knew that, though, right? Look at the W key. I'm going to press and drag down for a number 2. Okay, let's see what kind of impact this had. Let's take this full screen and run my code. Of course, because my playground now has access to the iPad hardware, as I pick up the iPad and I tilt it, all my emoji react. And that's how they like it, I have to tell you. Okay, so I've shown you just a taste of what you can create on your own and a small sample of the amazing lessons. That is Swift Playgrounds, a fun and powerful new way for kids to learn to code. Back to you, Tim.
Thank you, Cheryl. Looks absolutely incredible. And because we're combining basic coding skills with real-life code, Swift Playgrounds can profoundly impact the way kids learn to code. So we're releasing it with the developer preview today. It will be in the public beta next month. And it will be in the App Store when iOS 10 ships in the fall. Now, we believe coding should be a required language in all schools. So to help make this the case, we're going to make Swift Playgrounds free. And we hope that this gift to kids in schools around the world will help make coding a part of the school day. That is Swift Playgrounds. Now, powerful tools like these enable developers to create great apps, but they also help the next generation of developers who seek out on their journey to change the world. And to motivate this new generation of developers, we've created a video about what first inspired some great Apple developers to start coding. And I'd love to show it to you now.
Hello, world. So this is the first computer that I coded on.
In the beginning, my biggest challenge was not having access to a computer.
The first line of code I wrote was bouncing ball. It would bounce around the screen, hit the edges, and then come back again.
I think the first one was like a to-do list. It was a to-do list.
I remember the first time I did it when it worked, and it was like magical.
I realized that I can do anything with code. Anything I can think about, I can do it. In Beirut, we experience power outages every day. So let me see if I can just do a simple algorithm that can provide the electricity cutoff time.
It shouldn't cost life to give life. What if we compress all these health guidelines into small movies?
I'm one person that saw a problem and created a solution to stop or assist a woman in domestic violence.
What we wanted, what we needed, didn't exist. So at some point, you just say, okay, well, let's do it ourselves.
Let's make an app.
Well, when I first start an app, I have to have a plan.
We start with that little glimmer, that seed of a new, fresh idea.
There's this fear of code, like it's so hard or it's inaccessible, but actually it's not.
Someone who doesn't even know code at all, if they really studied some simple Swift code, they would probably be able to understand it.
Anything's possible, and it all comes from that first step.
Launching the app was a big moment, actually.
I told everyone about it. I'm like, download my app, it's on the App Store.
I was dancing. I called all my girlfriends that I cried to.
It's such a crazy feeling because it's so many emotions, so many wishes, so many dreams.
I always tell my students, do you have Beirut electricity? My son made it. He built it. And the girls, is he single?
By the end of 2016, 1 million women will have a safe birth due to the Safe Delivery app.
If people come together in public spaces, it creates a kind of happiness and it creates a kind of like healing effect for the soul.
Don't touch my code! Dear Kira, young people like you are tomorrow's leaders. You inspire me and give me tremendous hope for the future. Michelle and I wish you all the best. Sincerely, Barack Obama.
These tools are something that we desperately need when trying to change the world.
I think the more people who can learn to code, learn to build apps, the more problems can be solved.
I feel like I'm creating stuff that can actually change the way people live, which is super awesome.
I want to be this amazing coder, this off-the-chain senior developer where everybody comes to me and it's like, can you fix this? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, and I go in there, I'll just type up the code and damn, and like, wow, you can do this, yay!
It's really incredible to see the inspirations of so many amazing developers, and I can't wait to see what this next generation of developers are going to create to make the world a better place.